Hey guys, welcome to Aesthetically Unfiltered. I am Brandy McAndrew, nurse practitioner,
And I'm Jen Tompkins.
and we are going to talk to you about the aesthetic industry, no filter, just facts. All right, let's go straight
Yeah.
into it. Okay, so last episode we talked about like more so stigma and natural and all that. Let's dive into like this really actual natural stuff.
Yeah.
So
what can we do?
Regenerative aesthetics. It might be something that you've actually never even heard of, but it is taking over the aesthetic industry. It's something that I've always had a passion for. So let's go into it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about as we get older, what happens is the actual natural aging process is we lose fat pads, right? We have different types of fat pads. We have the ones that are deep down on bone, and then we have the ones that kind of move as we animate. When people place filler in the ones that move, they look weird.
Yes.
Like they look like cats and they look very strange. So that is why it's so important to go to somebody that actually knows their anatomy and has injected long enough to see what doesn't look right.
Right.
You know, there's some people that I injected in Dallas that I would never inject the same way now. So I've learned over time how to kind of treat people in the way that it's going to look good long term.
Right.
Many people are seeing the effects of volume loss,
Yeah.
but they're scared to get filler. So what can they do, right? Let's go into that.
Well, especially with weight loss.
Ozempic face?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is where you really want to pay attention if this is something that has gotten you kind of in your feels. You get skinny and then you look gaunt and weird.
Yeah.
So then you actually look older. So my mom's going to kill me.
Sunken in.
I'm going to talk about my mom. So she's lost a lot of weight, but she hasn't done the things that she needs to do to keep up with her volume loss. So it actually makes her appear older.
Right.
So I'm the one that has to point it out to her, and I'm the bad guy.
But is she really going to get it done anyway?
She just got some cheeks done recently.
Oh, she did. That's right.
Made a huge difference. So people underestimate the power of some good cheeks. Like you replace this volume right here, and you're back to being a little bad.
A little chubby.
Yeah. So volume in your face is a good thing.
And I think that's why a lot of people are afraid, right? Because they're like, I just lost all this weight. I don't want to go in and fill it and look like chunky or look whatever again. But it's not. It's going to contour it out naturally.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. So this is an option that every single one of my patients should be doing, especially once they hit their 30s. So let's talk about Radiesse. So that has kind of been our main go-to product on a lot of people, especially the ones that are scared of filler. So you should never be scared of filler, but in the right hands of a right injector, then filler can look really good.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I put Radiesse with fillers. So it just depends.
Oh, all the time. Yeah, all the time. I've seen that. Yeah. I mean, you did Radiesse in my jawline.
So Radiesse is a biostimulator.
Yep.
It acts as a dermal filler, but it is going to stimulate your body's own collagen elastin. So let's say that again. Like it's a product that I am injecting that stimulates your body's own collagen elastin. To me, like that's priceless. So
absolutely,
sign me up.
Yeah. Well, and it's also going to look better over time.
Correct.
Right.
It will never look weird, overdone, unless somebody like really does overdo it. Because you can masculinize somebody, but less is more approach to it. But it actually stimulates collagen, elastin, collagen 1, collagen 3.
Yeah.
It causes more blood flow to the surface of the skin, creating a more glowy look. So if you think blood brings oxygen to the surface of the skin, it makes it just look healthier.
Yeah.
So that, the fact that an injectable product can do that is insane.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for the next 10 years. Like, I really think that there's going to be even more growth in education and scientific studies and all that on these type of products.
So what is the difference between, I know we've talked about it a lot, but like Radiesse versus Sculptra? Because Sculptra is a lot. And we did do Sculptra, right, in the very beginning. And
there's a reason why I don't offer it. Like if somebody's had it done in the past, I feel comfortable with doing it again on them. But I've kind of transitioned my whole practice to Radiesse for a reason. So Radiesse, when you inject it, it's not going to stimulate your immune response. So we're all walking around with some type of autoimmune at this point. And who knows how long it's going to be until we actually really all are. But I don't want to inject a product into somebody's face that has any type of underlying autoimmune system, issue, so that it's going to cause a complication. Right. So you don't want to have allergic reaction. You don't want your body to say that again. So I don't want to inject products into somebody's face that is going to cause any type of complication, especially like your immune response. You just don't know what type of systemic response, like a little granuloma is one thing, but a huge systemic response to something that I inject in somebody's face that will destroy me. Yes. So I have just decided as a practitioner and a provider to not offer things that I can hurt people in the long run. So I'll catch a lot of flack for that. And I love to see that, all of, other practices, or that's what their practice is standing on. They're going to learn really quickly that people are not going to be happy with that over time. It's not actually going to give them the results that they want, unless they're really getting it what they're supposed to be getting. But it's just unaffordable for most people.
Yeah. And a lot of our patients that do, like, you get them in the chair and they'll ask about Sculptra, or they think in their mind like that's what they want to do. But then once you educate them about Radiesse and just seeing like the before and the before and afters, like immediately, like they change their mind.
Yeah, the studies, the white papers, the overall outcomes later on. That's what really, Sculptra. And I don't want to down a product because there's a lot of people that really, really love that product. And I just haven't seen it success in my patients because they're not spending $2,000 a pop 3 times and then come back in a year and do it again. If it worked. Yeah. Like, no, I need that instant result that's going to turn into long-term results for my patients. Right. That's just the target market I'm in.
Right.
So,
well, and a lot of our patients, even us, like we want to see that instant gratification. Like we live in that world.
We live in a consumer world where it's like instant, or if you tell them, oh, just wait for your results. It's going to be fine. Just wait.
You're like,
they're going to be like,
no,
I'm going somewhere else. And then absolutely. That person's going to end up doing filler.
Right.
So really having your provider like look at you as a whole and figure out, is it deep fat? Is it subcutaneous fat? Is it bone loss? Is it genetics?
Yeah.
You have to, there's so much to learn when you become an injector. It's actually overwhelming. And to have an eye for it is you're born with that. I'm not.
You can't teach that.
It's very hard to learn.
No.
I've seen other injectors like try to learn and they're just like, they'll literally draw lines and, they'll inject exactly where the lines are that they teach us when it's like down here. Just
because that's what they taught. That's what they were taught. And so they're going to stick to it.
So there's an art to it as well, right? It's not just, anatomy. I'm going to draw these lines. I'm going to put the filler right here. Like there's a way that the light hits your cheek that just looks best. And if you apply product right there to pop out, it just looks pretty.
Yeah.
It looks contoured. It doesn't look wide. It makes you actually look more, contoured. So, and creating a jawline, like there's a lot of people that are masculinizing women and you don't want to do that.
No.
Right? So, and chin's so important. There was one picture of somebody, she's about an hour away and she made this person look like he had a boner, a chin boner. I sent a picture to Lauren and she was like, oh God. You got to be careful because you can make people look really bad.
Yeah.
So just remember that. Look at before and after pictures.
Yeah.
And just, if those are the pictures that they're posting, only imagine what their patients are looking like.
Oh, the chin boner. I'm going to see
Not
that.
the chin boner.
Not the chin boner.
But these are the things I like to have a podcast for because I can't say it on our stories
I know.
For our business. So complication management, Radiesse. There are, complications with filler, with migration and that kind of stuff, but Radiesse doesn't have those complications. It ends up going away. The actual gel carrier that you inject ends up absorbing and then your body replaces it with collagen and elastin. So if you have a little lumpy, bumpy, then all you do is disperse it or you just let it chill. There's nothing that you have to do. And just knowing that, I could sleep at night better.
Right.
That I don't have to deal with a complication like I have done with Sculptra in the past, and it's cost me thousands of dollars to fix it. But they want to say it's the injector that caused it.
And we're still dealing with it.
So long lasting, more cost effective. I can sell 2 syringes of Radiesse in a room like in my sleep because it really gives them something that they can leave here and be like, oh my gosh, that looks really good. And then know in the back of their mind that it's going to even look better over time.
Like over time,
And it's going to prevent more of the aging process.
Yeah.
It's going to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's something you only have to do once every 1 to 2 years. If you want to be more aggressive, 1 year. If you want to kind of let it ride out, then 2 years.
Yeah.
If you're doing other things like lasers, microneedling, and skincare, then doing it every 1 to 2 years is the best.
Yeah. What is the actual cost of one syringe of Radiesse?
So it's 800, but if you get 2 syringes in one sitting, which is that's like the money spot for most people, is 1,500.
Yeah.
So you get $100 off.
And we could do what, 2 syringes and do like a full face?
Yeah, most of the time, especially if you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
And then what we can do is hyperdilute it. So what happens is if we inject the Radiesse as it comes, right, it's more of a thicker consistency. So it mimics, I can restore bone,
right?
The look of bone, right? So I have to be careful with some of the technical things that I say. So creating that illusion of bone, right? But if I hyperdilute it, I can put into areas like when you smile and you start getting these like little lines, I can hyperdilute it and put it in areas like that. Yeah. You could put it in this area. This is the preauricular space. So when somebody's like, I want to be lifted. Can you do this? And I'm like, well, that's a facelift, but here's what I can offer you. So when you inject in this preauricular space, this is the space that we see the most amount of volume loss, but nobody is like, come fill this for me.
No.
Nobody comes in for this.
No.
But they come in for this. Yeah. So what's causing this to droop is the loss of volume back here. Yeah. Skin laxity, volume loss, all that kind of thing. So really just showing people what they look like from the profile view.
Well, pictures. I know. And then you said that like, before, and I saw my profile and I'm like, oh, that's disgusting.
It's not disgusting.
What do I look like from the side? Because you only see it's hard. You can't see yourself from the side.
So everybody's looking in the mirror like this, and then they're looking like this, and they're like, what can I do about this? I'm like,
your jowls, I know.
Don't stand like that, first of all.
But a lot of our weight loss patients, right? Like this is always where you start. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're losing volume all back here. If you place volume in the temples and in your preauricular space, you will know you can put as much volume back here as you want, and you will never look overdone or filled, because all that's not an area that moves when we talk. Yeah. So we can get real technical about it. There's a line of ligaments here. If you put any product here, then that can make you look overdone and weird. Any product here will only restore volume. Yeah. So these are the things that I've learned over time by going to different injectors and conventions and even the cadaver labs that we've gone to. So that's where I think our practice has completely been taken over by regenerative aesthetics.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is our resolution for fear filler. Like, you should not have a fear of this. Yes, you cannot reverse it. Let's talk about that. Yeah. But you could if you really needed to. Like, right. It's weird. I can't explain it, but if you have something that doesn't look right, you can disperse it and undo it. Yeah. Long-term collagen and elastin stimulation. We can talk about that all day long, but if filler, if Radiesse isn't something that you're interested in, let's talk about PRF Easy Gel. Yeah. So
a lot of everybody gets either the calls we get are they're confused, they don't know what it is, or they're like, what's the difference between PRP and PRF?
Yeah, so let's go over that. Yeah. So PRP is platelet-rich plasma. Right. So we draw your blood, we spin it out. It's just the plasma part of your blood. So when we inject it, of course you get good stimulation of it's your own growth factors, right? So of course you get some type of result, but it's quick. Like you're going to get more skin effects. I feel that for my personal, you're going to get less volume effects, right? Because it's only going to release over a couple hours and then you're done, right? So that's the max benefit you're going to get from that.
And we can also do it topical, right? With microneedling.
Yeah. So that'll help with healing. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot you can do with PRP. I barely do PRP anymore because we have the ability to do PRF and PRF Easy Gel. Right. So PRF is platelet-rich fibrin. So it's it's going to have more growth factors, and it's going to release more so over a couple days. So you're going to get longer benefits in the long term. Yeah. So you may get a little bit of volume, more skin. It's really good for, those people that have a little darker under eyes, that filler wouldn't be the right thing for them. But I would skip right to PRF Easy Gel. Yeah. So Easy Gel, when I first saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like some scientific, some really cool experiment stuff. So you draw blood from their arm and you spin it out. and you spin out your PRF and your albumin. So all of these are proteins and stuff that make up your blood. So when we cool them and heat them, there's this whole system that you do. It takes a long time, but it's worth it. So it creates 5 syringes, so 5 mils of product to be therefore placed back into your face to stimulate your body's own natural collagen, elastin, all that stuff. You are going to get the most volume effects out of it. So we have a couple people that have done multiple sessions and their results are beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And it's for like subtle volume loss, right? Like if you need cheeks, you need cheeks.
Right.
And that's going to be filler.
Right.
Or Radiesse. But if you need subtle volume loss within the eyes, in this area, kind of just throughout here, or you just downright don't want to do filler, then this is your only option.
Right.
So there are options for people that are scared of regular filler, and once they see the results, then we can do some more longer lasting stuff.
Yeah, and PRF Easy Gel, I find for us is just taken off.
Yeah,
like we're doing it so much more than,
because people are seeing like that there's more options besides just filler, and I think we just need to get it out there more. Yeah, we are the only people I think in the area that do it. So I have people coming from Metairie that have found us through like just Googling. Yeah. So I think they do a lot of advertising on their own as a business, the PRF Easy Gel, and they have Dr. Rajani. He like does a lot of education about it. So it sells itself at the end of the day. And most of the time you need 1 to 2 sessions, or you can just do it kind of yearly and call it a day. Yeah. So I've had it done in my under eyes. Lauren has had it done multiple times. So
I haven't had it done yet.
Yeah, so it's something. Well, you had Radiesse, so you just went for the big guns.
I just go for the big guns. Yeah, with everything.
So, which is totally fine. I think there's no right or wrong. There's just a right or wrong for each person, right? Yeah. Whether they want to do it or not. But just know that there's options now, and knowing that is really cool because I can treat every single patient that walks through my door.
Exactly.
So if I say, look, you really need some volume here, I can offer them filler. But if I start to feel like, oh, they're against filler, then I'm like, okay, well, here's your other options. Because I used to just be like, okay, well, see you later. Like,
let them leave. Yeah.
So when created my own business, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have an option for every single person that walks in here.
Exactly. No, and I think they appreciate it, right? Our patients are like, okay, there's other. I'm not, because we'll get the questions of like, well, what else can I do besides filler, or what else can I do besides like Botox?
Yeah, and you get that when you do a syringe, we draw your blood, it makes 5 syringes. I mean, for $1,000, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know.
That is like unheard of. So that's $200 a syringe if you.
But they have to be hydrated too, right? So I've learned that too, because
so there's some things you have to do beforehand to ensure that you're going to get the best results for sure. So let's see.
Let's talk about like the because the lasers are like a big thing, like cool peel versus like CO2, like things like that. Because the cool peels are just, we're selling
taken
them
off
like crazy.
Now. Yeah. So let's start with the least aggressive thing. So you can do like the BioRepeel. That's going to give you a subtle no peel. That's just going to help with skin cell turnover and just give you that glowy, dewy look. Gets rid of all that old dead skin cells, and it's just really good to just give your body like a little stimulation.
Yeah. No downtime.
None
at all.
Microneedling is when we create holes all throughout your face. You're only gonna have like a day of downtime. I'm not even gonna say downtime because it's just 24 hours. No,
and your skin will feel a little bit sandpapery, just the texture of your skin, but nobody's like
just red. Really.
I see that.
So that's super easy, but that's your body's own not natural collagen stimulation. So remember, all the things that we're going to talk about this episode is definitely just going to be natural. And then the next step up is Cool Peel. So Cool Peel is a device that we brought on because we were seeing a lot of crepiness and textural issues that we couldn't treat with anything else, not even the Morpheus, not even the resurfacing. So there was a gap in our business where we couldn't treat certain things, and not a lot of people want to do like the aggressive downtime, like 3 to 5 days of looking like a monster. So a Cool Peel is good for somebody like me and you with a little bit of textural issues. Yeah, I can go and blast my under eyes and, really get that skin tightening, but I don't have time for that. So a Cool Peel is a good thing that you can do to resurface your skin. It helps with the little fine crepey lines. It helps with wrinkles that, you can't get rid of with filler or elsewhere. So it causes a little tight, it can help with a little bit of tightening, but really ultimately it's a textural thing. So you'll be a little red for a day. It's a little hot. So I don't know who created the name Cool
spicy,
Peel,
but
because it's not cool and it doesn't make you peel. No. So let's get with their marketing team for that, because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, and we can also combine the Cool Peel with other treatments.
Yes. So I'm all about the combo. Like if I'm going to go down once, I'm going to go down. I'm going to do microneedling and Cool Peel at the same time, because 1 and 1 equals 2. I forgot what the one of those. So if you do 2 at the same time, it equals 100, right? So there's no, like, it doesn't, doing them separately and then doing them together doesn't even like
add up,
compare. I don't know. So just do them together. If you can stack any type of procedures, then you are going to get the maximal result, and then you only have to have one downtime.
Exactly. So, yeah.
I need to stop with the acronyms or whatever the things
or the math. We can't math.
Oh yeah. Ultimately, it's the lack of math.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Put us two together, we can't.
So if you spent your 20s or even younger than that in a tanning bed, then, or, in the sun without sunscreen like I did, then Cool Peels, microneedling, you best be doing those, because you are going to really benefit from topical stimulation of collagen and elastin. Botox and filler is not going to be it for you.
No.
And then I think skincare.
Everybody our age was in the tanning bed.
Yeah.
With the
Playboy bunny
sticker you put on your hip.
Yeah, that's really aging us. And then, so Gen Z is the one below us, right? So the reason why they're not going to age is because of the education on prevention. Yeah. So the sunscreen, like I see people laying out and they're like under an umbrella, and I'm like, yeah, that wasn't me when I was younger.
It's like the darker the better, you know?
So we just get a spray tan and call it a day. It's what it is. Yeah. But they're just prepping their skin and allowing for themselves to like not get that sun damage that we got when we were young. So they have a bunch more fibroblasts than we have, which are the cells that create collagen and elastin. I know. So sun is the #1 killer of those. They literally just die. And so
is there going to be a need for aesthetics, like when they get? Seriously though,
like right. There might not be, not as much. So the more that we educate about sunscreen, it may like cost us in the long run. I know. But I'm going down with a fight, so I'll be open
as long as we can.
I'll be open as long as we need to. Okay. But yeah, I feel like the women in their 50s and 60s are really like seeing that we're aging a lot more gracefully than they are, so it's putting a lot of pressure on them. But those are also the ones that don't want to spend money. They feel guilty about spending money. So
especially on them, like, to do something
Gen Z,
for
they're
them.
like, I don't need to pay my car note.
I'll get Botox car note.
Yeah. And then
I won't eat
the
for
millennials we have to plan it out, which is why the millennials are going to fall for that Botox bank, because it's literally made for somebody who plans out their money. Exactly. It's made for a mom. We feel guilty about spending money on ourselves, and we kind of, we can go without this, but this allows us to they work it into their budget.
Exactly.
But the Gen Zs, they are, as long as they keep protecting their skin and then using retinol, they're gonna put us out of business. Yeah, maybe. No, they like Botox and lip filler too much.
They like the lip filler way too much.
So as a business owner, what the kind of things that I've taken away from where the industry has changed, get Afterpay, get Care Credit, get Affirm, Cherry.
Do all the things.
Allow people to pay overtime, because that is where consumers are right now. I probably have 40 things going through Afterpay.
I know. And then I'm like, well, I just should have paid for it outright, because as much as I have on Afterpay, like, it's the same amount, but it's the girl math, I'm like, okay, well, every little bit. And then I'm like, oh, and then my husband will just see won't even see the $25 charge, because it doesn't hit, there's a certain limit where it notifies me or notifies him. So if I keep it under that, it won't even notify him. So
this is why I have to have separate bank accounts, because my husband will be like, ooh, don't listen to this.
I know, don't listen.
So going back to that, creating quarterly wounds by any of these things that we've discussed is the best thing you can do for anti-aging. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's what we tell our patients too. Anything you can do quarterly is best. Twice a year if at minimum, if you have to.
Yeah, and very little complications when you're just stimulating your body's own collagen. Like, unless you have a severe autoimmune thing, but even like lupus patients, they can tolerate microneedling and all that, and cool peel and all that stuff. So really, unless you have severe melasma, that's something that you may want to stay away from the cool peel or IPL. But there's other things we can do where we could bring on the 3-step peel from ZO. And I think that's going to be great for my really bad pigment patients, after the summer. But yeah, and rosacea, let's talk about that, because a lot of people, I was like, oh, we're not going to have any rosacea patients. Yeah. And that's a big, like, we're in the South, right? So there's a lot of people with rosacea, and so they're like, I'm dry, but really we need to stimulate them with some acute inflammation in order for them to get better and skin cell turnover and all that stuff. So there's a method to every type of treatment that we do. It's not just like, oh, just get microneedling. Oh, just get this.
Because we just want to give it to you.
There really is a reason for each person to get it. And that's why it's good to let us kind of meet with you and guide you. You will guide you to what to do next.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So what else can we talk about?
I don't know. What else can we talk about?
How much longer do we have?
About 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes. Okay, let's talk about.
But this episode's good, so I wish we could say more.
I know. Hold on. Let me get to it. Let's get to it.
I'm like, okay, sign me up for PRP.
Yeah. Oh, we could talk about how. All right, let's talk about how Botox carries the team. And like, if I was Botox, I would be like, my back is hurting. Because
I know.
Everybody just thinks Botox is going to be a fix me one and done kind of thing. No. And that's not. Botox does not fix wrinkles. It prevents them. So if you have a wrinkle that's been there for 10 years, I'm not going to fix it in one sitting. Okay. So you got to be doing some microneedling and cool peel and do all that stuff. Expectations of Botox. Everybody wants it to last 4 months. It's not going to
happen.
Everybody only wants to have a certain amount of units. It's not how it works.
They only want to pay like $9 a unit.
I feel like Botox just gives and gives and gives, and then people have their expectations are just so high of it. But if we really just compounded it with other things like the natural stimulation, then it's going to make you last a little longer.
Well, and you have to, we have a ton of patients that come in, not a ton anymore, but they want the Botox, but they're not doing any skincare. They're not doing anything preventative or at home to help. It's like the Botox isn't going to fix that.
And it's because they don't know the value of it.
Right.
And that's where we've changed. So every patient that comes in here knows I'm not just trying to sell you a product. It's not a cream, right?
No.
It's a medical treatment every night at your house. If you look at skincare as a medical treatment at your house, especially ZO and Skin Better, that's what it's made to do, then you are going to see the value in saving money for it, putting money aside for it.
Absolutely.
Getting away from the in and out approach with patients and really creating those long-term customized treatment plans. I think that's a better way to keep natural results, right? Treating them holistically.
Yep.
And then...
Well, even when we did the numbers, right? So just a couple weeks ago, we were like, oh, we can't be making... I mean, we know we make money on on all of our things, but like... You're like, well, I just want to keep doing filler and filler when it's like our Botox is when we talk about carry the team, like our Botox is what's carrying us through.
That's one of our biggest sellers, right? But Botox people turn into filler, turn into lasers and all that stuff.
The other things.
So it's still important, it's still one of my favorite things in the world, but you just, as long as people aren't just seeing like, oh, I'm going to go get my Botox and then I'll see you in 4 months. Like, I don't want that. I want people to really see it as a holistic, put it all together kind of thing.
Right. And you have to be consistent with it, right? So it may give you, like in the, when it starts to kick in after 2 weeks or whatever, but
you're always chasing that, right?
Exactly.
Everybody wants that to chase those 2-week result. But also people are like, oh, well, I usually can go 6 months without it, but now I can only go 3 months. And I'm like, it doesn't last like that. Like, you were lucky that it lasted that. I call them God's favorite.
I know, right?
When they're in my chair and they're like, oh yeah, it lasts me 6 to 9 months. I'm like, okay,
must
God's
be
favorite.
nice.
Yeah. So especially people with like better skin, right? Like ultimately, genetically, I have very thin skin. So the minute my Botox starts moving, I'm like,
fix it.
It's moving. So I'm also one of those patients that's annoying when it comes to like it being frozen all the time.
Right.
It's just, we just know that it's not going to be like that.
No.
So that's why I have to be really consistent with my skincare every night, because I just can't ever be as frozen as I would like to be.
See, and I like a little movement.
Until it has a wrinkle. And then you're like, oh, my Botox is worn off. So don't lie. You really also have really good genetics. So that's another thing we talk about.
Yeah.
Genetics is huge. So when you're younger, in your 30s, you have more fibroblasts. That's why it's important to start earlier.
Yeah.
So you genetically and physiologically have more cells that we can stimulate and kind of wake them up. So they get sluggish and tired, and we kill them with the sun. So if we can prevent against all those free radicals with sunscreen and things like daily power defense,
Yes.
there's a reason. It protects us from all those environmental stressors. And so if you do that, I forgot what I was going to say. What are we talking about? If you do things that are protecting your
Yeah.
I'm like getting nervous because I know it's about to end and I don't know how to finish it.
We were talking about making your Botox last. And
yes. So I found that doing things like that can actually make my Botox look like it lasts longer.
And genetics too.
And
so
genetics,
like, well, then I must have really good genetics, because I didn't start
Yes.
getting Botox till like late 30s.
How old are you?
41.
41.
I'll be 41.
She's 41, y'all. So get Botox, skincare, ultimately genetics.
Yeah.
Looks really good. So, and you would never guess what she has done besides lip filler.
Besides lips, yeah. I mean, I think that's the number one like standout people can tell, because it's something, you know, when you come from not having any lips, where you look like
Yeah.
I can't.
That's
do
what
that.
I look like.
I look at old pictures now and I'm just like, oh God.
So I'm gonna just be making my appointment for Radiesse this week because I need to get some volume, volume back. But if you're looking into regenerative aesthetics, then these are the kind of options that we can give to you to ensure you're aging naturally and gracefully. So thank you for listening. We will see y'all next episode.
Bye.
I'm okay with you keeping the mistakes in there.